So last week we discussed the shotguns here on Battlefield 1 Best Weapons, and quite surprisingly, the Model 10A shotgun didn't win the community poll. The Model 1900 double barrel from the Russian DLC pipped it to the post by the narrowest of margins, just 6 votes. This week it's the turn of the LMGs. Which is going to come out on top, I wonder? Let's find out. So this week, I collected the votes on Saturday the 3rd of February, and at that time we had just over 7,000 votes, which is incredible, and lots of support for multiple weapons in there as well, which is really nice to see. Now today, I'm going to post on the screen the poll at the end of the video so you can see all the results for all of the LMGs. That's something you guys asked me to do. And also, I'm switching up the thumbnail so as not to give away the result before you've even watched the video. Not sure how I missed that whilst I made the first 4 episodes, but there we are. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video and find out which weapon category you're going to be voting on next. But without further ado, let's get into the list of the top 3 light machine guns in Battlefield 1. Okay, here we go. So coming in at number 3 this week, we have an almost brand new DLC weapon from Turning Tides. The Browning M1917 machine gun takes 3rd spot with 1,116 votes. This is actually my favourite LMG of choice right now. I'm really enjoying using it, and there are some key statistics that make it easy to see why, perhaps, it's so popular with you guys and girls in the Battlefield community as well. Firstly, I've got to talk about the ammo capacity. It features a proper box magazine on the side, and it holds a staggering 250 rounds. The need to reload this thing is almost reduced to 0, but if you do get a chance to reload it, it is actually a really nice reload. It's got like a bicycle bell ping at the end as you pull back the handle. It's a really nice reload. But the Perino added with the Russian DLC, that featured an external hopper system, and that was feeding the gun with 20 round sticks, and could hold up to 120 rounds in the hopper. The M1917 doubles that and adds 10 more rounds for good measure. You can prone down, whack out the bipod, and fire this thing just for days. The Browning has reasonably low recoil values as well, and that's likely because the weapon is extremely heavy. In reality, it would have weighed close to 45 kilos, and it was crew operated and water cooled, and it was a stationary machine gun. It was set up in machine gun nests. But in Battlefield 1, those real-life actions have been somewhat ignored in favour of an enjoyable gameplay experience, which of course I believe should always come first. Recoil upwards is just 0.26 and horizontally just 0.17. That makes it fairly easy to control during sustained fire. Now, DICE recently changed how LMGs work inherently with the TTK 2.0 update that came with the January patch. You should now make sure that you're fully aimed down the sights before you start firing any of the LMGs, or the LMG will suffer with increased bullet spread, making it hard for you to be accurate with your shots, even with a low recoil weapon like we have here, the Browning M1917. Make sure you're aiming down sights before you start firing this thing, or you're going to start wondering why none of your shots are hitting the target properly. When you are firing the thing, the bullets are going to travel ridiculously fast with the Browning, 820 meters a second to be exact, and at that range, you're almost competing with sniper rifles, and in fact, you're outperforming quite a few of them. The bipod comes into play even more with that kind of bullet velocity. Just get yourself set up behind cover or prone down on the ground, and targets way off in the distance, you will find you're able to hit them without too much of an issue. The M1917 MG is just a proper meat grinder weapon. You don't really have to worry about reloading, and you can lay down suppressive and accurate fire for quite a long time. And that supports your teammates, and it's likely going to distract the enemy in plenty of situations as well. So, the M1917 Browning machine gun takes 3rd place here. Second place is a weapon that I thought we would see at the top of the poll, considering it's a base game weapon, but just like last week with the shotguns, another weapon has pipped it to the post. Second place goes to the BAR M1918 with 1,641 votes. Because this is a base game weapon, any player can pick it up and experience it, and technically, it's not a light machine gun, it is an automatic rifle, so it's closer to what we might consider an assault rifle today. From its operation and usability alone, you can see why so many people want to use it, and so many people call it the World War I assault rifle. Now, the BAR's damage model was recently updated with the TTK 2.0 patch, giving it more damage at all ranges, but with a greater focus on mid to close range combat. Max damage now stands at 26.5 and minimum at 23, which is the old maximum damage value. This reduces the bullets needed to kill somebody at all ranges by 1, making the BAR far more lethal than it was before. Not that it was really a bad weapon to begin with, I might add. It has a fairly manageable rate of fire, 600 rounds a minute, and it comes with 20 rounds in each magazine. This combination is almost perfect for a support player who wants to be a little bit more aggressive, get up there on the front lines, and start combating the assault players on the enemy team. These people using the BAR, they want to get into the thick of the action, they want to have a weapon that they can rely on in medium to close quarters combat. Now, 600 rounds a minute means you won't be firing loads of bullets past your target, and you should comfortably be able to take down 2 players per magazine before reloading after this patch, because of course the damage got increased. Recoil stats also favour that aggressive mid to close range playstyle if you're going to use the Storm variant. Recoil upwards is 0.44 and horizontally is 0.21, so it does have a little bit of a kick. The closer you are to the target, however, the less likely it is that the recoil is going to throw your aim off target. The Bar Storm is quite a versatile weapon in that regard. You're likely not going to have to fire the weapon in long bursts, and often you'll be reloading quite soon after you've killed somebody. So that more severe upwards recoil kick doesn't really come into play all that often if you're going to use the weapon in close to mid-range. If you're going to try and use it at long range, you'd be better off picking another light machine gun. The BAR, I'm sure, is a popular choice because of its close resemblance to a modern-day assault rifle, and it does allow support players to close the gap and compete with the assault's SMGs quite effectively. Those all got a buff alongside the LMGs in the last patch, so things have become even more competitive within mid to close range now. So, the M1917 takes third place, the BAR takes second place, that leaves the winner. Considering its rather unique use case and completely different take on weapons that should be in the support class, I can see why this one was voted the winner. With 1,958 votes, the MG1417 Para Bellum from the Russian DLC has been voted the best LMG in Battlefield 1 by the community. Now, I made a video about this weapon the day it was released with the Russian DLC, about how it was a true game changer for the support class, and how it could be incredibly powerful against aerial threats. That still holds true today, even though it's been slightly tweaked with the weapon balance update. The Para Bellum was actually ripped out of planes, where it was mounted on for gunners, and DICE gave it to infantry soldiers on the ground. Of course, the main appeal of the Para Bellum has to be its rate of fire and bullet velocity. 700 rounds a minute travelling at 870 meters a second makes this thing like a laser against big targets in the sky. The included bipod on the low weight and suppressive variants makes it a perfect candidate for taking down planes without needing to go and search for an AA cannon. Some issues do arise, however, when you try and use the weapon without its bipod. Horizontal recoil is extremely erratic on the Para Bellum, and overall the weapon can be quite difficult to control, and that's the balancing feature of it having such a high rate of fire. As I mentioned earlier, DICE has given all LMGs that damage boost in mid-range combat with the latest patch, so that makes the MG14 a 5-shot kill guaranteed outside of 12 meters, and inside 12 meters it's a 4-shot kill, and at that range, up to 12 meters, I'd say you probably don't need to use the bipod. Outside of that range, the recoil can be a little bit nuts, so using the bipod is definitely something you want to be doing. Most of the time you are going to be focusing on mid-range combat with this LMG, so sure you might miss some shots because of the recoil stats if you don't use the bipod, but you should make up for it by landing so many more shots due to the high rate of fire. Personally, the reason I like the Para Bellum is simply because it represented a massive change in the support class. Before its introduction, the class was full of these slow-firing, low-damage machine guns that all felt very similar to one another. Introducing the Para Bellum, I think, got people quite excited about using the support class, which we all know is an extremely important class to have present during matches. They're the guys who are going to be giving you your ammunition. But overall, the feeling when you fire it, the sound, the visual effects, it really is a hard machine gun to beat. So, there you have it. The best LMG in Battlefield 1, as voted for by the community, is the MG1417 Para Bellum. In the next episode, however, we're going to be visiting the marksman rifles. We've already done infantry rifles, that was our first episode, with just the iron sights, but now it's time to tackle their marksman brothers. So head down into the description, click the link, that'll take you to the straw poll, and go and vote for what you think is the best marksman rifle in Battlefield 1. But thank you very much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and leave this video a like if you're enjoying this best weapon series. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.